Big time Catholic League showdown tonight on Gameday Nation. Thank you for joining us. I'm Yaw Bonsu alongside the great Rhett Boyd and Dion Thompson. On one side, you have Caden Kennard, you have Manny Johnson averaging over 32 points per game combined. On the other side, you have Ethan James and Race Kowalczyk linking up for 31 points per contest. We know the stars are going to show up, but which supporting cast needs to show up for either team to win tonight?
For me, based on watching that game in person, that game one, for me it's St. John's. Coy Hammock, Jack Goodnow, and Parker Theobald, they have to step up and support Ethan James and Race Kowalczyk.
So we'll see what happens tonight.
That Catholic League showdown, one of 6 games we have on the basketball court tonight on Gameday Nation. Of course, we have hockey as well, Upper Arlington at Northview. But take a look at some of the games we have tonight. A huge NLO showdown between Clay and Northview. We also have Southview at Whitmer, Bowser at Scott, Danbury at Northwood, Bellevue at Sandusky. But looking at that Clay-Northview matchup, it's the first time that Clay will be without its top 2 leading scorers because of the transfer rules. How are you expecting the Eagles to come out tonight, Coach Boyd?
Well, I think like everybody in the area, especially Clay themselves, we're going to find out pretty quick. And I think for Clay, you don't replace Antoine Mister and Ursay Martin. You don't replace their production with just with 2 guys.
All right, in Central Catholic, St. John's. St. John's up 38-29 over the Fighting Irish. Look, Coach Boyd, if St. John's is going to keep shooting like that, it's going to be very, very hard to stop the Titans.
Well, I think if you're Coach Mike Floyd right now, you hope they shoot their way, into fool's gold. But the problem is but it's their main guy. It's the guys that are fully capable of knocking down threes. Race Kowalczyk's got 4 of the 7. You got to press him. I don't care where he's at.
All right, a little hammer time for Whitmer. All right, it's halftime presented by Citizens National Bank. In our game of the week, St. John's a 46-36 lead over Central Catholic. The Titans knocking down 8 threes in that half. The second half is going to be a fun one. Big time Catholic League showdown. The kids would say very much ethical hoops going on over at St. John's. You're watching Gameday Nation presented by Renewal by Anderson, a better way to a better window. We got more ball on the other side of the break. Top left, Clay and Northview. Top right, Southview and Whitmer. And at the bottom, you see halftime highlights between St. John's and Central Catholic. I want to go back to a point you said earlier, Coach Boyd. You said if you're coaching Central Catholic, you're not going to let Race Kowalczyk beat you. But is there any part of you that thinks, okay, we'll let Race not beat us, but we'll let Race do his thing. He looks unstoppable, but we're going to stop the supporting cast. Is that a thought at all for you?
No. I'm trying to take the best guy out of the game, okay? Because it's percentages. Race Kowalczyk is a special talent. He has very good guys around him, but he's a difference maker. Make life difficult on him. Try to wear him out
and
play the percentages of everybody else. Now look, if you can slow him down a little bit, but Ethan James and Parker Theobald, they get 15 apiece. Tip your hat to them. Guys, great night.
You'll accept it.
You can live with it. Okay. What I can't live with is the best player going off for 30. And then the other guys get 10 and 10. And it's like, well, I didn't take the best guy away.
You take a look at the halftime stats there. The thing that stands out, Dion, offensive rebounds. Both the teams are shooting well. Both the teams aren't turning the ball over a ton, but the offensive rebounds is what the Titans have a big advantage over.
Offensive rebounds and free throws. And one of the issues I'm having with the free throw, if you're Central Catholic, you fouled Parker Theobald twice from 3. Okay, he knocked down one, made a 4-point play, then he had another shot from 3. You cannot foul the 3-point shooter. That's like a golden rule.
We are in the Media Center presented by Stautzenberger College. Fast track your career and apply today at sctoday.edu. We have student sections. The joint is jumping at a lot of different places. Northview has a great student section. It doesn't matter who the home or away team is when it comes to the Catholic League. Everybody's going to pop out, including St. John's student section and Central Catholics too. That's where we head next. St. John's, Central Catholic, our game of the week. Let's send it in to the crew on the call. Mason Lowry and Darren Cohn with the Titans having a 6-point lead over the Fighting Irish. It's our first 6-box of the night, and we got the logos on there too. Beautiful job by our production team here. Alrighty, so you know how we ride here on Gameday Nation. Dion, I'll give you the honors. Pick a game. We'll go to that game. Choose wisely.
I'm going to choose wisely, and I think the game I want to go to, I want to look at that Clay Northview. There seems to be a lot going on in Sylvania right now.
All righty, Brad Woznicki, Kyle Linehan. Let's stick on the 6 box for a second. I just want to admire it. This is beautiful.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
All right.
Yeah, I was going to say, can I recommend the 6 box? I actually like that.
Okay, great. So we'll stick right here.
Can we stay here?
Alrighty, 2.6 seconds left. Central Catholic down by 3. Dion, if you're St. John's, are you going for the 3? Of course you are.
You have to tie it.
But for Central Catholic, are you going to foul?
Yeah, I'm fouling right away. I'm not even going to let him get a shot off.
Not going to let Race Kowalczyk
No,
get the...
he's not. No, him or Parker, I'm grabbing him before they even shoot the ball.
I'd grab a guy right now on the inbounds.
Or just have him shoot free throws. Alrighty, Mason Lowry, Darren Cohn have the end of the game.
You got to play up on Race.
Man, oh man. Take another look. Manny Johnson, I mean, what more needs to be said?
That's why I said on the podcast, I said he is arguably my player of the year right now. You got to put him up for it. He's been doing it. I know people are looking at his stats. He's averaging like 15 a game. Caden Kennard's leading the scoring. But it's the intangibles. It's things like that. That block, you know, what he did defensively and offensively. Take a look at this shot right here. You want your best guy taking the shot. And then on the other end, their best guy took the shot.
He's an alpha. Manny Johnson is an alpha. I mean, because of what you said, it's big plays on both ends of the floor in the tightest of ball games, in the biggest spots of games. You know, and you just can't teach that. You got it or you don't, and he certainly does. And congratulations to Central, down majority of this game, just hung around, and then were able to make a run. What a ball game! That's got to be
that's a game of the year candidate right there for BCSN honors. Manny Johnson, that brother is special. We'll talk about it. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Gameday Nation alongside Rhett Boyd and Dion Thompson. I'm Yaw Bonsu. Our game of the week felt more like a game of the year. Central Catholic downing St. John's 75-72. And Dion, for the Fighting Irish to be trailing for most of the game, and then in the biggest moment, the best player, Manny Johnson, hitting a miraculous 3 to give the Fighting Irish a win, it says a lot about Central Catholic.
Well, it says a lot about their composure. They were down by as much as, 12, 10 points at one time. They kept chipping away.
Guys in the studio.
There's so much to love about that interview. The slat after, the teammates in the back. Manny Johnson, 24 points to lead Central Catholic to a 75-72 win over St. John's. Mason Lowry, Darren Cohn on the call.
I have a feeling we'll be talking about this one again in June at the BCSN Honors, up for Game of the Year.
They should have heard us here in studio watching that shot. But look, Coach, we could talk about Manny all day, but we also have to talk about the supporting cast, the teammates around him that got Central Catholic this win.
Sure, and it is a team game, and you got to play on both ends of the floor. I thought Caden Carruthers was big. Obviously, Caden Kennard came up big, 18 points.
Everything there is to love about high school basketball was on display tonight with that Central Catholic St. John's game. Of course, Central Catholic winning 75-72 over St. John's in our game of the week. And real quick with St. John's, the Titans did not play a bad game at all.
No.
Race Kowalczyk showed up. Ethan James showed up. Race had 23, James had 17. They shot great from 3. They didn't turn the ball over much. You play a game like that and still lose?
Listen, if you left at halftime or at the third quarter thinking, all right, this one's a wrap.
Yeah, this one's
But, you know.
But what do you tell your team in a lock after a loss like that? You can't go there and say, man.
They hit one more shot than us. Yeah. It's plain and simple. They milked the clock down. We understand it was a tie score with about a minute to go. Yeah. So Central puts it down to about 18 seconds, takes a timeout, and they come and say, hey, we're going to take the last shot.
But everything,
and let's be honest, it was a wild shot. It just went in, but it was a wild shot.
Well defended.
But everything you guys were saying last week about St. John's, they have to stay consistent. Check that off tonight.
They are.
They have to shoot better. Check that off tonight.
Facts.
Supporting cast has to come through. Check that off tonight. And still a loss?
Yeah, those are the heartbreakers because you lay it out on the line and you compete, you empty the tank. But at the same time, you say, guys, look, you know, the sun's going to come up tomorrow, and you can look ourselves in the mirror and say, we played a damn good basketball game.
Welcome back to Gameday Nation. Yaw Bonsu with you alongside Rhett Boyd and Dion Thompson. Despite all of the craziness we've had on Gameday Nation tonight, we still have one more game going on tonight. You know we love that City League here at BCSN. It's Bowser at Scott. Let's send you there. It's the fourth quarter, and it's a big-time game in the City League, of course, because everybody's trying to keep track, make it to that Final Four.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
It is a big deal. And Dion, you played in it, and we watched over the course of the years. You know, it's important to those teams to have a chance to beat for the league title in that Final Four.
Welcome back to Gameday Nation. Yaw Bonsu with you alongside Rhett Boyd and Deon Thompson. If you're a fan of Clay, if you're a coach on the Clay team, if you're a player on the Clay team, exhale. A 49-43 win today over Northview. Clay probably had the most questions of any team coming into this week because you lose your top 2 scorers, top 2 players. But tonight with the win, at least for one day or 1 week, the Eagles answering some big-time questions.
I agree, and because it's the unknown freaks you out.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Especially when you're after a 10-1 start like they were coming in. You want to keep that momentum rolling.
Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
I mean, that'll never get old.
No,
that'll never get old.
Trend. I love it.
Yep.
Young guys, you came up with something. I love it.
I had Cardinal Stretch earlier this year at Ottawa Hills, and they got a big win. And I'm standing outside the locker room, and Coach comes out and says, "Hey, can we grab so and so for an interview?" And you heard him open the door, and he yells in, "Hey, so and so, come on out. BCSN wants an interview." And you would have thought they hit the game winner.
Have to get our touch-ups here. Man, we look good at this. Man, imagine, this is some heat. A little.
I can't.
I can't.
The little.
What I can't believe is y'all talked me into doing this silly stuff. I don't have a brush.
You guys should have heard these. You should have heard these divas in studio. Oh, I'm gonna mess up my waves. I'm gonna mess up my gray hairs. I'm gonna mess up my hair.
Man.
And you know who else was complaining? Brandon Carnes. But because we love him, because we love the segment, we're gonna bring him in anyway. So Carnes is back with Carnes' questions, and I wonder how he looks in the headband. Could we find out? You guys are teasing the audience here.
No longer.
Wait no longer? I want to see how you look in the headband because
Wait a little bit longer.
We look kind of fresh. We got the student section of the week headbands. You guys got to tag us on social media if you want to look at them. There he is. There he is.
There we go.
Good.
See, you got a couple Whitmer guys up here at the desk, so they were rocking it in the student section. #SSOTW.
Oh yeah, I didn't
we got to
put the
get
dots
ours
together.
on too.
There you go.
There we go. Happy to be back out here with you guys. All right,
Our producer said we can take
we can take them off
Yeah,
now.
thank goodness.
Okay, but here good? We good? Everybody cool?
Get our ratings
All right.
back down.
We can still
man.
wave it.
This,
Listen,
geez.
we're
That's my
excited.
tie.
We want to bring the chains somewhere. We want Caleb to take.
I think as quick as you can gain momentum is as quickly as you can lose
turns
momentum.
around.
You can't control going into halftime, going into the locker room, but I feel like St. John's just having those 5-10 minutes to just relax actually was a detriment to St. John's because you come out, you played well in the third, fourth quarter, but you weren't playing as well as you did in the first half.
Shots weren't falling.
Exactly. When you build up that momentum in the first half, all you want to do is play for 10 more minutes straight until you lose it all. But the fact that halftime came, again, is something St. John's can't control. Third quarter, fourth quarter, Central Catholic adjusted, got into the paint more, and then that ended up proving the Fighting Irish correctly and not necessarily St. John's.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that, we talked about it right at halftime. We said Central Catholic are shooting 60% from the floor because they're doing a lot of their damage in the paint. As long as they stay close, you just had to hope St. John's cooled off just a little bit. They didn't cool off very much, but they did just enough.
But now here's the question. Can Central Catholic carry that momentum beyond tonight? Because at the beginning of the show, Coach Boyd, you mentioned an emotional win on Tuesday over St. Francis. It was going to be hard to win this game regardless because of how that game went. So now a big win on Tuesday, an extravagant win tonight. How much does the Fighting Irish have left?
Oh, don't worry. They're on a high right now. But tonight, for me, it proved they're just fine from a mindset standpoint because was there going to be an emotional letdown? No. And you got behind in this game, so now you face adversity.
Man, what a night of basketball. Brandon, you brought the juice today. And guess what? We have Gameday Nation overtime next with Mark Kuhns. I'm Yaw Bonsu. That's Brandon Carnes. That's Coach Rhett Boyd. That's Deon Thompson. We're waving the towels. Have a great night.